Hey everyone, welcome to Northern Soul channel here on YouTube, and today we're going to be doing a general taping for knee pain, as well as for you can use this for any sort of patellar tendinopathy, Osgood Schlatters disease, bursitis, or if you're just not sure about your knee or you need a little bit of support in the area. This is a good one. Or maybe you have some issues also with the quadriceps and the way the tendon, shared tendon, goes underneath the kneecap. This will provide a little bit of support for if you feel like you need that. I'm going to show you, I'm going to demonstrate on myself how to apply it to yourself, what that looks like, some tips and tricks. So stick around and we'll get to it. So it's pretty basic taping. You've probably seen some of this. I've tweaked it, so this is not going to be exactly what other people are doing, because I find there's some issues that they're not really resolving, such as like pulling on skin, aggravating skin, causing itchiness, and that sort of thing. So I've come up with my own sort of tweaks in order to alleviate those sort of common problems that people have with that. So we'll get started. You want to use a high quality tape. If those of you that are a bit furry like me, you may wish to shave or wax or whatever you want to do in order to help with the adhesion of the tape, especially if it's a long-term thing. Ignore that noise. And but for me, if you get a high quality tape that's really sticky, it'll stick anyways typically, but it's always recommended to clear the area and have it nice and clean and dry before you begin. So first thing we want to do is we're going to measure the tape. So I'm going to use this bulk roll here. And if you're looking for what tape to use if you're first time and new to this sort of thing, I've got videos on Northern Soul channel there on different types of tape. There's a competition between all these different brands, and I've tested them and I show you the testing and all that stuff. So looking at that, I got 2 of those videos. If you're new to taping as well, check out my introduction to taping, all the questions kind of answered to get you started if first time you're kind of looking at this for as a treatment or as an assist or a tool. So first thing we'll do is we'll just measure across here, and this is just a rough kind of guess up to about there, kind of like up here in the thigh. I don't want to go too far because it's kind of unnecessary and tape's kind of expensive. So I'm just going to measure out a second one from the first one, 2 cuts. So I've got 2 2-inch wide strips, or 5 centimeter strips, wide strips, and we're gonna have one for across this the tendon here, the patellar tendon. So usually I'm gonna add stretch on that. There's not going to be stretch on the other one, so I just measure it exactly. For this one, there's going to be quite a bit of stretch, so I'm just going to measure a little bit shorter, so about there. So just for visual reference, it's kind of like that wide. Okay. Always round off the corners so they don't catch on your clothes. There we go. Very exciting stuff going on over here. I just want to take this time now to just thank all the subscribers that have been supporting the channel, as well as watching all the other stuff on on the channel as well. And we do have memberships, so thanks to all the members for supporting this small channel and keeping everything going. Okay, so let's start. So typically you want to put your foot, some people put your leg into the proper position. A lot of people start here with the stretch one across the patellar tendon. I don't like that, because if any tape's going to be itchy, it's going to be the one that goes across there. So I like to put it on after. So if it gets itchy, I can rip it off and not have to take the side taping off. So I'm going to start over here. You want to put your knee into a flexed position. So it's going to be 90 degrees. So I'm just going to have it up like this. So I'm just breaking the tape, and then I'm just going to split, kind of bend it. You don't want to touch the adhesive at any time. You'll get your the skin oils on there. So I'm going to just put, just for showing, here's the tendon here. There's a bony prominence right there, tibial tuberosity, that the quadriceps attached to. you want to get across there. So just on that, the bump on the side. So I'm just going to press in there. As you can see, it's pretty furry, but it is holding. So 90 degrees. And you're just going to go across, hopefully you can see this, across the knee like that. And kind of on the quadricep here, like that. Now a lot of people put a massive bend in on it. I don't like to do the massive bends or curves with the tape, because the outside of the tape will be stretched out massively versus the inside, and you can get a lot of skin irritation. So that's the first adjustment that I've made, other than the one in the, I put the tendon one on top instead of on the bottom. But this is the first adjustment that I made on a typical taping of this type. You want to just go across onto the quads, and then we're going to back it up so you can see. And I'm going to crisscross it. Sometimes they put the tape on itself like a V, but this tape doesn't, tapes generally speaking don't like to stick onto itself. It likes skin. So that's why I'm going to find some open skin here, kind of across. Rub that in, no stretch. And these are mimicking each other. I'm going to be across the knee again. So 90 degrees across. And then because I made it a little bit longer, I'm going to bring it across to itself like that. I always want to end on the skin because you get really good adhesion that way. So it's going to be a little bit on, what is the patella, the kneecap, like that, like that. Now, that's the basic one, and usually they end with the strip across here. Now what I've done is, if you feel like, okay, if this is just kind of like a pain thing for the kneecap, or a little bit assist with the quads or something like that, you can leave it at that with the one and go ahead and do that. But if you're really struggling with the support thing, what you could add is a secondary tape in order to offer even more support. So for example, let me use a different color so you can see what that looks like. So I'm going to add an additional one. So this is different, and an addition two. So you're going to do a half and half. So right about there. So I'm going to cut that, put that onto itself, measure once, cut twice. So that's about the length there. There we go. Round off the ends so it doesn't catch. Just like that. There we go. So 2 bits. So if I'm adding additional support, once again, still want to put the knee at 90 degrees. And I'm going to do it half on, half off the existing tape. So that's kind of how it's done. So at the top here, find some skin, 90 degrees, no stretch. You do a cross like this, and just follow it along like that. Other tape, now I could have done it kind of on the inside if I wish to get a little bit more. This is a slightly askew. This should have been over maybe a touch, like a ½ inch. So just make your own adjustments, you'll see. Feeling is believing, so it's one of those things you might have to play with it a bit. So I'm just going to do the same thing but on the opposite side. So half and half, try to find some skin, there we go. And you may need to make the second taping a bit longer. So 90 degrees again, across, just like that. So these 2 tapes are more for the knee support. It doesn't have to go into the quads because that's not really the point of it. And you can see the angle is pretty much straight. There's not a lot of curve. It's not this massive curve back onto itself. I've seen all this kind of like twisting up like a pretzel. But that's adding way too much strain on the skin. You want to avoid that. Okay, so now that we've got that, the 90 degrees, we've got the last tape to do. So I'm just going to put this across the patellar tendon here, and on this part you can go ahead and extend the knee a bit to about there. That's about 20 degrees, I would say. So a slight bend, And so I break it in half, and then I make these two ends. So I'm going to crease that, because that way I can grab onto the ends like this, okay? So you grab like that, flat thumbs, thumb, thumb, and that's where you're going to get that stretch from. So you're going to go up to 100% and back it off to probably about 50. So every tape's a bit different on their stretch, and so what I'm going to do is just a little bit more of flex on there, right across. So just under the bottom of the kneecap there, the inferior portion. Stretch 100%, back off to 50, right across the top of that. No stretch on the ends. Those are anchor points. Ta-da! Rub it in there. Now you can always apply some heat or rub it, but just be careful you're not grabbing onto the ends. So you can see kind of how that works. So I applied the other two tapes across the knee in a 90-degree position, flexion, and then you back it off to about 20 degrees and then apply this one here. So as you extend, so say I'm standing, you can see how it just binds everything up and you get this wave-like pattern that's happening. And that's that gentle lifting action of the skin, the dermal layer, and the fascia if it's not sticking. That occurs, and that's where you get that healing response. You get the chronic constant touch in order to help with pain. And you can see how well this is mobility tape if you're curious, and you can see how well I just applied it. And usually you need to wait about 10-15 minutes for it to get to almost maximum adhesion, and it's just grabbing on and clinging onto that skin. The adhesion properties of this tape is excellent, so it's one of my favorites. And check out, there's a couple other brands that are up there, but this is beautiful. I love this stuff. And if you're wondering what I recommend and what I use, it's this. Anyways, you can see how well it's doing. So you'd be standing and it's just like lifting and creating that space, and that's what you need for healing. This can also help if you have a bit of swelling as well into the area. This isn't a swelling tape. There's going to be other videos on that. I'm going to have a whole series of knee issues, so if this isn't particularly what your issue is, just be aware that I'm going to have other videos come up as well. So keep subscribing and keep watching, because of we're going to have new videos coming very soon, and think about memberships as well to help support the channel and keep things rolling here. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Northern Soul out.